Hi, my name is Madeline Snell. I was recently on a mountaineering course with my sister and some friends, and we had a guide with us, and this guide was taking us up a mountain. We came to this one area, and we believed what we could look up. We saw a summit. We thought that we had arrived at our destination. It was just a matter of clearing up that summit, when the guide told us that we had actually were looking at a false summit. This summit really wasn't going to be the end of our hike. We still had quite a ways to go, and he advised us that there was actually quite a few false summits along the way. It got me to thinking when I got back after we completed our climb about sometimes as Christians how we look again at false summits and we imagine that we've arrived. When we read in Philippians 3, verse 12, it says, "I do not claim that I have already succeeded or have already become perfect. I keep striving to win the prize for which Christ Jesus has won me to himself. Of course, my brothers, I do not think that I've already won it. The one thing I do, however, is to forget what is behind me and do my best to reach what is ahead." It made me realize that much like this idea of a false summit when we were climbing, sometimes as Christians we look and we imagine that we've completed the race by maybe attending church, or maybe you're participating in some way in ministry and you believe that somehow that this is the summit that God had for your life as a Christian. I would challenge you to consider the fact that really we never reach a summit till we come face to face with Christ upon our death. That the actual summits that we sometimes imagine can actually hold us back from running the race that God intended for our lives. You see, it's never about arriving someplace and imagining that somehow that this is it, this is the peak, that perhaps as a non-Christian going to church and attending church on Sunday, that's the actual summit. But it isn't the summit. It's a place where you get trained and equipped for the actual race that God has intended for you. So there's so much more to our life and to our walk with God, to reaching the summit that God intends for us. But to do it, we actually have to stop imagining and resting and settling for those areas that really work out to being false summits. False summits can also take the appearance, I believe, of maybe a goal that we set in our own desire for what our lives will look like. For some, perhaps it's to get married, or maybe to have children, or maybe it's to own a home or have their business or reach a certain career aspiration that we might be holding out for. And to some, maybe that becomes the summit of their life. They look to this goal and achieving this goal as though, again, that were all that God intended for your life. Again, I would say to you that all those things are not bad goals to have in our life and aspirations that we might have to enrich our lives and to live a life full. But at the same time, it's not the fullness that God intended. His summit is not us succeeding in any of those areas. It is to have a relationship with Him and live with Him and press on to the things that He has for each of us as His children. So if you're sitting at a place in your life and it appears that you're maybe at a false summit, I encourage you to run your race with God in a relationship with Him, not looking at a situation or circumstance as though it's the summit. Realize the summit only comes at the end of our life, lived in conjunction with responding in obedience and seeking after God for the plans and purposes that He has for us in our lives. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day. Bye now.